Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Comic Crossovers episode 29. This is Geeked Out Nation's weekly comic podcast where we talk about everything going on in the comic world as well as review usually three books each week. Today's show is a little short on talent. um, this week you just have me, Jess. I'm the comic editor of the Geeked Out Nation comic section. And I'm joined by Jadobi, my co-editor of the comic section. We are usually joined by Steven, who is our editor-in-chief, but this week he couldn't make it, so you're stuck with just us. Okay? So I guess what we'll do is we'll jump into what we read this week, just briefly, talk about what we picked out this week. Jadobi, do you want to go first?
Sure. I got, this is a pretty long list. Solar Man of the Atom number 5, All New Batman Eternal number 24, Buffy the Vampire Slayer season 10 number 7, Deadly Class number 7, Dark Horse Presents number 2, Injustice Gods Among Us year 2 number 24, Miles Morales Ultimate Spider-Man number 5, Nova number 21, Original Sin, Thor, and Loki number 5, the Multiversity, the Society of Superheroes number 1, The Wicked and the Divine number 4, Thor, God of Thunder number 25, Trees number 5, Uncanny Avengers number 24, and Uncanny X-Men number 26, Unity number 11, Wolverine and X-Men number 9, and Wonder Woman Future's End number 1.
It's a long list.
It is.
I mean, what stuck out to you the most this week out of everything you checked out?
It would have to be The Wicked and the Divine number 4, Miles Morales Ultimate Spider-Man number 5, Injustice Gods Among Us year 2 number 24. I said Uncanny X-Men, right? I think I said that right.
Yeah.
Edge of the Spider-Verse number 2, and Solar number 5.
All right. Well, I picked up the new George Perez series, Sirens, which was pretty good. I mean, I really picked it up because it is George Perez and he's one of my favorite artists, so I had to see how that book looked, and it did not disappoint visually. I picked up all of the Future's End books because that's what I do. Obviously, I picked up the weekly series and the tie-ins. I also picked up Buffy, the 3 books we're going to review. And I also picked up Multiversity, which was probably my favorite book of the week. No, I lied. No, Deadly Class is my favorite book of the week. Multiversity was probably my second favorite, because I just like the story. I like the idea of I've always liked the idea of DC's multiverse, different things happening on different worlds at the same time with characters done in completely different ways. I've always enjoyed that. I also picked up Fables, obviously, which was, that was a very sad issue, very heartbreaking in a lot of ways. I don't know how Bill Willingham and Mark Buckingham plan to finish out this series, but it's going to be something big. I like to say that, I steal this from The Dark Knight, but the night is always darkest before the dawn, so Fables is kind of going that direction right now. At least I hope it is. I'm not usually a big fan of the sappy, happy endings, but after reading this series for so many years, I do kind of hope it ends that way. So what we'll do now is we'll just jump right into some of the biggest news stories of the week, and I guess what we'll do is we'll open up with a couple of TV movie things, since that was kind of buzzing, that world was buzzing a bit this week with news about comic book adaptations. the thing that just broke today, which we'll jump into right away, is that Supergirl has been ordered as a TV series by CBS. It was like last it was announced, and barely a week later, and boom, we've got a Supergirl series heading to TV. Um, we talked about it last week, but now that it's actually happening, what are your thoughts about it?
I mean, I'm all for it. I mean, like we said last week, this has the same potential to go just as far as Smallville, and of course, taking another step further, just because this is gonna be Supergirl. She's gonna have her powers. She's gonna deal with all these issues. Um, at this point, there's not much to exactly go off of it because we don't know the direction they're going to take, considering the things that they considering how if they're going to separate her from what we know about the DC universe concerning Superman. We don't really know if she's just going to be in her own little corner. So we don't know who she's going to be interacting with and whatnot. So I think right now we could just be excited that we have Supergirl. And just
I thought you cut off there. I was waiting to see if you said anything. Um, yeah, I am
okay.
interested in a Supergirl TV show. I think it's got a lot of potential to be something much more lighthearted, which is never a bad thing. It's definitely got potential to create a brand new star. I don't see them casting a really well-known actress for this part. I
Mhm.
definitely see them going somewhere more unknown. Just because I think sometimes we get distracted by who the actress is instead of who the character is. I am interested to see what the budget on this show is going to be because, Kara is a superhero. She's super powered. This is not Arrow where you can get away with not showing anything. Um, she's already got the powers from what the said. She's just hiding in plain sight, and so I'm interested to see how they pull that off. Because I think the budget's gonna be dependent on how popular the show is. Um, I don't
Mhm.
really I'm not really sure what else to say about this because I think I said it all in the last episode. I do still believe that this is DC's way of kind of protecting themselves in case the Superman Batman movie doesn't work out. This way they have different TV shows that they can easily introduce some of these bigger named characters in, which as I said last week, I love the idea of doing that. I love the idea of TV being a go-to place to tell superhero stories because superheroes comics are told in a serial form. It's every month we get another chapter of the story, and a TV show you get 12 episodes at the low end to tell your story. So I like it. So moving on, we have two movie things. Suicide Squad is moving forward as a film. They have seemingly found a director. I think his name is David Arian, I believe his name is. I'd have to double check that. But the movie is moving forward. No word on who will actually be on the team. Obviously, this has set the internet abuzz because this could possibly be the debut of Harley Quinn in films. Um, which, as a big Harley Quinn fan, I'm a bit torn because I am not so high up on many comic book adaptations. I always feel like they don't capture everything the way I'd want them to. But I can't deny the fact that I'm pretty excited at the potential for Harley Quinn being in a movie. I love Harley Quinn. I always, ever since I was a kid with Batman the animated series, and she's one of my favorites. So I am definitely interested in seeing if that's how it pans out. What about you?
Yeah, I'm definitely excited, especially just for the fact that Harley and Deadshot are two favorable, the two biggest they're both like the center of attention when it comes to Suicide Squad. So hopefully they would be the two that they tried the most to get right. Now the only now I'll get it just as long as they have the right villains. Uh, um, now it all depends on the villains that they choose for the movie, especially if they try to
Hmm.
shoehorn in some of the villains from the more recent for the recent incarnation of the team, like Joker's daughter. I mean, I know they wouldn't, but leave characters like her out of it. But yeah,
Yeah,
there's a lot of potential.
I think with Suicide Squad, you have to remember where he is because even when I read Suicide Squad comics, I always worry that it'll veer into Secret Six territory a little bit too much. And I think the two teams need to be really separated by the fact that this is the government sponsored team, that they have the devices inside of them that if they mess up or they quit or something, they'll be killed. I think that all needs to be played up very much, and I think um, whoever ends up playing Amanda Waller, that her character needs to be in the forefront of a lot of most of this movie. I know there's this huge potential, obviously, for Harley Quinn to be in it, but she can't be the star. I would need Amanda Waller to be the star. Because a movie led by a black woman would be fantastic for one, and a black woman in power is even better. um,
Mhm.
and that's like a perfect part for a lot of actresses to play. And I know Green Lantern was a terrible movie, but I think Angela Bassett in that part, despite the fact that she's not Amanda the Waller, she's a more slim woman. I just think she has that she's got all of that in her to play that part. So I kind of push for her to reprise that role. But this has potential to be really good,
Mhm.
which kind of leads me into the next one, which I think the two of them together, if these two movies are done properly, could be the wave of a different kind of superhero movie. So the next big story that broke this week was like not even 24 hours after quotes came out from Ryan Reynolds saying he was excited that the internet has kind of been used as a force of good, then bad, does Fox announce a Deadpool movie has been greenlit for 2016. Um, I don't know how you feel about Deadpool, but I did like the test footage. I thought it was very Deadpool, and I was entertained. I am not really a Deadpool hater. I think he's very funny if he's written right. Right, like right now, I think in his current series, he's written very well. So I am actually interested in this, and because I do like what Fox has done with the X-Men in the first class movies. Days of Future Past and First Class were very, very good movies to me, I think. So I'm excited to see what they do with Deadpool.
Um, for me, I know I'm excited because I know for a fact they won't be pulling the same stunt that they did in Wolverine Origins.
No.
You just can't get any worse than that.
No.
So I think they've definitely got their act together. They know who Deadpool is. They know what he should be, and they're not going to try to. And they're not. And of course, they're not using him as a plot device. They're actually going to show him for who he is. So hopefully, it is something on par with the test footage.
Yeah, and I think too that honestly, I can't see anybody else playing Deadpool. To be honest, I can't really see anyone but Ryan Reynolds doing it. I think he'd be perfect as Wade. Um, and he was in Wolverine Origins,
Mhm.
in the first part of that movie. That whole
Yeah, the
movie,
first
he's
part.
kind of
Yeah.
the best thing. He's kind of the best thing of the movie, and he's barely in it.
Mhm.
And I think that's why the ending of that movie
Exactly.
stung so hard because it's like that's where you went.
Yep.
So, yeah, I'm excited for a Deadpool movie, and I think maybe I might possibly be reading too much into this, but I am excited for the fact that something like Suicide Squad and Deadpool are going to be made, because this could be the ushering in of the less kid-friendly movies revolving around
Hmm.
superheroes. We might get something a little bit more violent, a little bit more cursing, a little bit more sexy, a little bit more edgy, and I kind of like that. Because I just the only time I'm really at movie theaters opening weekend is for the superhero movies, and it's very inundated with kids.
Hmm.
And like Deadpool, like I don't want kitty Deadpool. I want Deadpool. Like I want Wade being completely inappropriate.
Exactly. I mean, like, it just makes me sad because, like, the only thing that makes me sad is that this isn't in the Marvel universe because, I mean, in the Marvel cinematic because that means they can't do Shield, and I've really liked this current run, especially everything dealing with Agent Adsit and Agent Preston. It's like I really would love to see the movie. There's so much that happens between them that's either funny, sad, or violent. I mean, because let's see, she died as those who read the series knew. She died. She came back. She came back as a cyborg. Adsit, while they're fighting a bunch of villains, he tries to step between Deadpool and Crossbones, and he just snaps the guy's arm in half, and he's sitting there saying, "Why don't I feel my arm? Am I in shock?" He's like, "Could you please kill that guy for me?" And Preston is in Deadpool's head screaming his name, and he's telling Adsit, "Yeah, Preston's not happy with you right now."
And I think too, like, I think you just want it to be part of the Marvel Cinematic Universe so you can get Bob of Hydra. I think that's your actual motive here. You just want to see Bob. I mean, I want to
Exactly.
see Bob.
There's Bob too. I want to see Bob.
I think
That
though,
needs to
on the
happen.
bright side, on the bright side of this though, since it is being made by the same people who own the X-Men, if X-Force gets made, we could get Deadpool trolling Cable,
Yes.
which would be I don't want to see any more superhero movies after that. Deadpool trolling Cable on the big screen for 2.5 hours. I'm good. I'm done. Everyone can go home now.
That would be amazing. It
I
just
mean,
has to happen.
seriously, you get Deadpool, you've got X-Men, you gotta make your X-Men movie with Wolverine, Deadpool, and Cable. Just do it. Like, give it to us, because we would be. I mean, that movie with the right comedic writers, that would be fantastic.
Yep.
Yeah. So, okay, so that covers, some of the stuff that's happened in movie and TV. Um, this week solicitations came out for December from pretty much everyone. So without, going through every single thing, what we're gonna do is we're just gonna, talk about the stuff that sticks out for us. Jadobi, I don't know if you got a chance to look at every publisher, but is there anything that really sticks out to you that was announced through the solicitations? Either Marvel, DC, Dark Horse, Boom Studios, Image. I believe they all came out.
Oh gosh, I actually got something from all of them. Let's see. Yeah, Captain America first, the Mighty Avengers, Superior Iron Man number three, where Daredevil makes his decision to where he stands on Iron Man and his city of the future he's trying to build. You have Angela as Asgard's assassin number one, Shield number one, Death of Wolverine, Logan's legacy, number six, which is a very interesting. which is a very interesting issue because it's about Mystique looking back at all her misdeeds and just everything she's done up to this point. There's Wicked and the Divine #6, which is a new story arc. Saga Volume 4 trade paperback. A Voice in the Dark, Get Your Gun #4, which of course is everything leading up to that what caught. Justice League #37, Justice League Dark #37, where the team gets trapped pretty much at the start of time, at the very beginning of time. Batman Eternal #39. I think I already forgot what this one was. Harley Quinn Holiday Special #1.
I love everything that's happening with that series. There's a Scratch and Sniff issue coming out soon.
Oh, really?
Scratch and Sniff. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
I have to have that one. And then there's Swamp Thing #37, which is pretty much the whole thing with the Green versus the what do you even call them? The metal, the machines, the robots?
I think you could just call them the metal. Or...
I don't know. All I know he's looking forward to. Yeah, the metal. Which is interesting because Swamp Thing Future's End #1 was the first time I really ever heard that there was a metal avatar. So I want to see where this goes and how that could possibly lead to this potential future that we saw. There's Captain Midnight #18, which continues their hunt for Chuck Ramsey, who betrayed them. Buffy the Vampire Season 10 #10, which pretty much continues the whole thing with the Scoobies, as they call them, and they're in control of magic. They're writing the rules of magic, and now you have all these people who now realize they have the rules in their hands, and they're just coming right at them, time after time, more consistently. Coleman, he's having a look back into his past, and that's kind of messing with his head, messing with his sanity, and drawing him more into the hungry world, which is just a place you don't want to be. If you're reading that series, you just know it's just a place you don't want to be. Dark Horse Presents #5 for obvious reasons. Many stories, some good, some bad, some in the middle, but it's a good variety. And then there's Halo Escalation #13, which is the start of a new story arc, which is pretty much Sarah Palmer and her Spartans versus Joel Mada, whatever his name is, Joel. I'm just gonna call him Joel, and Dr. Halsey, and both sides are fighting over both pieces of the Janus key, which basically would unlock a map to ology. And this is pretty much the story I want to read just for Sarah Palmer, because she's one of the newest characters in the Halo universe, and also one of the most badass. And if you saw the cover, you'd agree with me just why.
Yeah, I mean that's just like one part of all the stuff coming out, but my attention got really caught by a couple of Image series. Kelly Sue DeConnick's new series, Bitch Planet, that starts in December. I'm really excited about that. So does this series that just totally came out of nowhere that I was not expecting. They're Not Like Us #1 by Eric Stevenson, with art by Simon Gain and Jordi Belair. I'm very excited about this because I really, really enjoyed Nowhere Men, and I don't think that's going to be coming back anytime soon, unfortunately, and I understand why. But so I'm very excited to see Eric Stevenson doing a new ongoing series, because I think he's a fantastic writer as well as publisher and all of this and that. Sheltered also ends in December, which I'm very excited about, seeing how that ends. I'm not happy to see it go, but I am excited to see what happens. There's just a lot of trades coming out. Most notably, Christmas time is when the next Saga trade will be coming out, so people could definitely swoop that up. I am very, very excited that the next arc of Wicked with the Wicked and the Divine starts in December, so it's going to be kind of a killer month waiting, but uh, with the wait. DC side, a lot of it is just the regular ongoings that I'm getting, but Secret Six starts in December, which is like I'm prepared to buy as many copies as possible to keep that book going. And then, of course, December is the Darwin Cook month. That's when all of the variant covers done by Darwin Cook will come out, and I'm gonna buy books I don't even read. With Marvel, I have to admit I honestly avoided a lot of Marvel solicitations. I am excited about Spider-Man and the X-Men only in the sense that I would like to see how it's gonna be done. Um, I have to admit I don't like reading Marvel solicitations. I think they give too much away. Um,
They do.
and I think they do because if you compare the Marvel solicitation to the DC solicitations, even when they show the Batman solicitation, they are not showing you the cover or very much of what's happening because they're keeping the villain reveal under wraps. Because that villain's not revealed until the next issue, so they're doing a very good job, I think, of keeping as much as they can under wraps. Um, Obviously, the big thing for me with on the DC end though is Justice League 3000 number 12. I'm not reading that series. I stopped after about issue 3. Unfortunately, I just wasn't that into it. But pre-New 52, Booster Gold and Blue Beetle are back, and they're in the series. So, by the rule that I have that I must read everything with Booster Gold, I will be picking up that series, and I am hoping, fingers crossed, that it's at a good place for me to jump into. Um, I I looked at the Boom Studios solicitations as well, and the thing that really stuck out for me was the Escape from New York series. It's now my second book that will give me my 80s Kurt Russell fix. I will have Escape from New York and Big Trouble in Little China. It's a very good time to be an 80s Kurt Russell fan. So yeah, I don't know if there's anything sticks out to you guys who are listening to this, but that's really what's sticking out for us in December solicitations. So what we're gonna do now is we're gonna jump right into our reviews, and I think we're gonna start off with something that pretty much everybody on the internet was um, really buzzing about, and that was Gwen Stacy in Edge of Spider-Verse number 2. Um, so obviously, even if this is your first time listening to our podcast, when we do these reviews, we go into spoilers. That's the best way to discuss the book in full. So Edge of Spider-Verse is the big to-do over at Marvel with all the Spider-Men. It's Otto is stuck in 2099, but there's a team forming of Spider-Men from different versions of Earth. We have robot Spider-Men, Spider-Men that are not Peter Parker, and each of the Edge of Spider-Verse issues is a different world with a different Spider-Man. And with good reason, this was probably the most anticipated one, which was Gwen Stacy was the one bitten by the radioactive spider and not Peter Parker. So in this world, she is a high school student. She's out of high school. She's in college. She's out there fighting crime in New York City as Spider-Woman. Her dad is a cop. He is on the hunt for Spider-Woman, and this is because Peter Parker in a twist here, he was very jealous of Spider-Woman, and he idolized the kind of love that Spider-Woman got from people, and how she was a hero, and she could take care of herself and things like this. So he wanted to be the same way. And you're listening, you probably can figure out where this is going, but Peter Parker was the Lizard. So he became a villain, and he died, and it was not there was not this deep romantic element in it at all. And this is where Gwen Stacy is now. Peter Parker is dead. She's being blamed for it. Her father is out to kill her without even knowing that it's her. And she's just trying to be a college girl in a band, a kick-ass band, and do her music and live her life. And it's Spider-Gwen, and she can do whatever a Spider-Gwen can. I really liked this. How did you feel about it? You there?
Hmm? Oh, I yep, I'm here. I liked it because just for the fact that it's different. I mean, this Gwen Stacy, maybe her real life isn't as challenged as Peter's, but she definitely faces a lot more challenges as Spider Woman because she actually because it's not like you're having Jay Jonah who's over here just calling him a menace just to make a sale. This is she's having the police after her because she accidentally killed somebody, and it's all because he wanted to be like her, and it just swells her up with so much guilt, and you just see how that affects everything about her life. And to that one moment between her and her dad, it just felt real, and you certainly felt the whole weight and responsibility of having all of that power because while Peter definitely showed a little more control, she had to learn it the hard way. So I think so that's why I definitely liked her story a lot more. And of course just seeing what they did with Peter because that was clever. You didn't really see that coming.
Yeah, I really liked that twist. I had a feeling before this happened that um before the issue came out that that Peter Parker would be her assistant in some way or just her boyfriend. I didn't think that they would basically make him, the sort of like the Flash Thompson of the group, where where he idolizes Spider Woman and wants to be just like her, and it's I thought that twist was very well done. I really liked how she was. I didn't. I felt like they took some of what she's known to be and compared it with her with what she is in the movies, where she's this very smart and very sure of herself person, brave, tough, and in every sense of it. And I liked the characterization of her. Um, I I do have my feelings about the Ultimate Universe and how I do think that's kind of a lost cause at this point. And I almost feel like Marvel, after the reception to this has been crazy. I don't know what the sales have been like, but people have been really, really, really excited about Gwen Stacy as Spider-Woman in this world. I personally would buy on a monthly basis this Gwen Stacy in this universe. I would buy this. I thought it was just such a
Hmm.
fun book without being overly fun. It had enough darkness to really balance it out. And the ending that just happened so like it really happened that she revealed herself to her father. I almost feel a little bit ripped off because I want to know what happens next.
Exactly. And the art was very good as well.
The design of Gwen Stacy is fantastic.
Hmm.
That might be like one of my favorite superhero costumes ever. The hoodie was perfect.
Yep. And I, I just I kind of like the lack of because aside from the whole spider webs, how a lot of the way they don't try to show her definition through it.
Yeah, yeah. I think she looks as real of a person as possible while still looking like a superhero.
Hmm.
if that makes any sense. I think she looks real. She has real body proportions and just a real look to her while still looking like a superhero. I actually think what she wears is much closer to what a real superhero would wear in the real world than what the new Batgirl is wearing. I think this
Definitely.
is because this is more low key. It seems more simple. It seems cheaper.
More
And it
practical.
just yeah, it's just she's got these leggings and this hoodie that comes over her that turns into a mask, and it just seems much more realistic. So I really liked it. I feel like honestly at this point, if Marvel doesn't do at least a miniseries with this, that it would be a waste of time.
It would.
I just feel like they put so much energy into creating this and hyping this, and if they don't do something with it, it feels like a waste.
Hmm. I mean, because they did the same thing for Spider-Man 2099. People wanted them. They bugged them enough, and that's what they got. So why can't we do the same with Gwen?
And honestly, this is just one interaction with her, but I could see myself liking her more than Jessica Drew. To be honest, I feel like I relate to her a little bit more, and she just seems so normal, and she has a lot of what Peter Parker has, at least in the early days. Not so much now, but the way he used to be, and I like that she's not pushing to be funny. She's just kind of like, this is the world I live in, this is what I do, and I really just feel like if Marvel doesn't do something, then it was a waste.
Hmm. It really is.
All right, so yeah, I mean, so we liked it. If you haven't picked up Edge of Spider-Verse #2, you definitely need to. It's very good, and it's very easy to get into. I did not read Edge of Spider-Verse 1. I purely picked this up because of Gwen Stacy, and I very much enjoyed it, and I understood what was going on.
Yep, that's pretty much how it went for me. No, there's that's pretty
Yeah.
much what you like about that's what you like about all five of these issues in general. You read it if you like that character.
Yeah, I think what is the next one is like this robot one that kind of looks like Evangelion, the anime thing. Yeah. All right, so I guess Shinobi, if you want to take it away with Uncanny X-Men #26.
Okay, so Uncanny X-Men #26 continues the last will of Xavier, which is for Wolverine, Cyclops, and their strongest telepath, which is Rachel Summers, to go find Matthew Malloy and reinforce or make sure that the mental blocks in his head are still there. And it's interesting because it's split into three parts. You have what's going on it's what's going on at the Jean school, at the Jean Grey school. You have what's going on between Matthew Malloy and Shield, and then you have what's going on at the new Xavier school with the students. And starting with what happened at the Jean Grey school after they all leave to go fight. You had the debate that pretty much has everyone has been looking forward to, which is why they're all still so angry at Scott. And the two people that you really didn't expect to weigh in on the situation gave the best clarity on it, which started with Firestar, who pretty much in a single page summed up why they have been fairly what's the word I'm looking for? They've overreacted to the situation, put in all this weight on Scott. Scott knows he killed Xavier. He didn't do it on purpose, but it was still by his hands. He's never going to forget this, and yet they're taking every opportunity to make him to remind him of this, not knowing this. And it was a powerful moment just because you see just how unreasonable those like Iceman could be, because yes he was important to everyone, but it doesn't really give you the right to say such things as Cyclops should die on that mission, and the rest of them are kind of just looking at him like you need to take a step back and reevaluate the way you're looking at this. I don't know how Storm or I don't know how Storm may change her perspective on the situation, or how Beast, if they approached him after, but you definitely see the line in the sand where there's understanding and there's overreacting. Then you have the whole thing with Matthew Malloy and Shield empathy for Maria Hill, because this is a situation that she didn't expect, one that she's not prepared for, and one that just keeps smacking her in the face because this mutant problem is sensitive. He's already taken out so many people, and she's throwing every available option at her, that just has backfired. She tried the Avengers, and they're off in space. I mean, yeah, they're off in space. I mean, you want the Avengers, and they're off doing something important. They're never there when you need them, when Shield needs them. And she also tried her own telepaths, and they both. I don't even know what this guy did to them, but that's just how dangerous he is. He just looked at them, and this guy's neck. I think about 90% of his body snapped. My favorite part happened with the students, because the revolution has kind of taken a back seat for a while, and now the issue has now been brought up by the students, starting with Christopher, because he sees himself as a hero, and now he's starting to question what they're really doing, if they're against the heroes like the Avengers, and he just doesn't he questions what they are as revolutionaries, if the heroes don't agree with them. And that is why I also like Bendis's take on these younger students, because he takes opportunities to show them as individuals, starting with the Stepford Cuckoos, um, because they than these new mutants, and to just see the authority in their voices as they're trying to explain what this is, the importance of the revolution, and why Christopher isn't really seeing the big picture as a mutant would, when when the heroes aren't doing anything, Shield isn't doing anything, the people who are supposed to protect them, like the cops, aren't doing anything, and she's saying they're training to protect themselves, to protect their rights as mutants, and it's a big statement from these three, because usually they're more in sync with their thoughts, but now you see a little more individuality between them, especially when it comes to how they approach different students and during different situations, be it Eva, or something else. Now, aside from story point, just because things keep switching between Chris and Bachelot, but Chris, Anka, his art style is just as good. What I liked in particular is just how he tends to draw Cyclops, just from the fact that his suits, those red lines all light up, and aside from that, you have the darkness that he portrays when it comes to what Matthew Malloy can do, and just how scary it is, because you don't understand it, he doesn't understand it, and there's a lot more to it than we've seen on the surface than just destruction.
Yeah. I agree. I liked a lot of what happened in this issue, and clearly things are going to go very bad for the X-Men very quickly, because of Matthew and what he can do. Uh, I I did like the issue as set up to what bigger things are going to happen. I thought Enka's art was very good. I like Bachalo's art as well, but I think Enka does something different where it's a lot more polished.
Hmm.
It's meant to look pretty, and I think at times Bachalo can make the girls make the female characters a little too sexy for my taste. Especially Eva. Sometimes she just comes off like this temptress. Like she's just coming over to you to stand next to you, and it's like she looks like she's ready to seduce you. So sometimes it's a little bit much, but I like what Anka does. I like the humor. I think the thing that sticks out the most about this issue, though, is everything with Cyclops and how people are, how Firestar is really bringing up a lot of good points from an outsider perspective. So that's always an interesting thing for a writer to do. So I was very into that. But I think this is a solid issue. I do wonder if Matthew is going to have anything to do with Axis at this point. I don't want this to just be filler until Axis. I hope this has some sort of bigger purpose. But yeah, this was a solid issue. I don't really have any big complaints with it. Do you have anything else you want to add?
Mm, I think that's about it.
Alright, so let's move into the last book we have to review this week, which is Deadly Class number 7, which I absolutely adored. Um, Alright, so basically, if you didn't read the first arc, you're going to want to catch up on that. You are caught up briefly with what's happened so far. Marcus and the rest of the group are back at school, so I'll make this as short as possible. Marcus, the rest of the group are back at school after Maria killed Chico, her boyfriend, and the mysterious guy who's been pretty much following the story since it began took his body. So they're back at school and they're all pretending like none of that ever happened. Maria and Marcus are in a relationship. Um, and we get a little bit more about the mysterious person who took Chico's body. And basically, him and his family are sort of like the Texas Chainsaw Massacre in a way. Um, they're kind of deformed, and from the text, you can tell that they're Southern, and uh, they're very messed up. But when I'll get into this a little bit later, but Marcus is kind of just settled back in. He's talking with the rest of the group. He's got his girlfriend, and they all go to this party hosted by this guy who's really popular at school. This punk rocker guy, whose dad is big time British mafia kind of guy. Like you do not want to mess with this kid. So of course Marcus messes with him. But the big thing here is that Marcus has this roommate who seems just like a nice kid. He doesn't seem like he's much trouble. He's a little upset that he can't go to the party, but he deals with it in a very interesting way that sets up what's probably going to be an even more explosive arc than the first one. The whole comic is framed from Marcus writing in his journal. So a lot of this stuff isn't really happening in real time. It's being told to us through these journal entries. And we find out at the end that Marcus's roommate, is spying on Marcus to Master Lin, the headmaster of the entire academy. I don't know, how did you feel about this issue?
I liked it. This one was very down to earth because it's all about moving on from these things that they have to do while a part of the academy, especially when it comes to killing. It's all about dealing with what they pretty much signed up for, dealing with the consequences, as in the people that they pissed off by killing Chico. Um, and then what I personally liked was the whole thing between him and it's Maria, right? The
Yeah.
girl. Yeah, yeah, Maria. And this whole thing between him and Maria, I really liked because you seen how much this impacts her, and he's kind of um dealing from, which is him thinking about himself, his own happiness, while also considering what she's going through, and and it creates a lot of drama that you enjoy for the fact that you enjoy for the fact that it's just not just teen drama. This is they're kind of being adults. They're kind of being adults about this to an extent because uh, I
Well,
don't.
they're
It's
well,
this is
they're
difficult.
yeah, they're dealing with a lot of depression and things like that. And Maria in particular is an interesting character to look at because she is dealing with a lot. She did kill Chico, and now she's dating the person that she basically killed him for. And while all this is happening, Marcus and Saya are growing close, and that was shown in the first arc towards the end that the two of them have this mutual. Not, I don't think they're in love with each other, but there's an attraction there, and there's something about the two of them that the fact that she was the first person he really got to meet at this school. But there is this love he has for Maria, and I think in his own way he does love her, but he is also stuck with her.
Hmm.
And I think that's an interesting wrinkle to this story is that Saya and Marcus may be the ones who belong with each other, and I do believe that, but I think that things have happened where Marcus is now stuck with Maria because if he breaks up with her, she is free to ruin his life. She can have him killed by her father or Chico's father because she can easily say that Marcus was the reason it all had to happen and that he forced her to do something to Chico or however that wants to be done. It's
Hmm.
we've seen this in stories before where two people that who should be together aren't together for other reasons. And I did really enjoy that dynamic, especially at the end where he pretty much admits like I'm in trouble, but I love this girl, and I like that that's such a big part of the story because it's very teenagey. Um, and that's the other thing that really stuck out about this issue is how normal things seemed. The first arc was very fear and loathing in Las Vegas type of thing, and this arc is more catching us up with where they are now, and they all have settled into being in school, and I don't think we got a lot of that in the first arc, and I'm glad we got back to it in this one where they're going to parties and having regular teenage drama, and so I liked it because of that, and I think Marcus is becoming one of my favorite comic characters. I think there's a lot of layers to him, and I'm always when I read this series, I'm always wanting to peel back more to see what else is going on with this kid.
Yeah, and there's definitely the fact that because of the things he's been through, he has a different perspective on life, what's important, who obviously takes advantage of who takes advantage of the opportunities they have, like this British kid who's rich. He acts like he owns the place. He acts like he's better than everyone else, and that kind of thing sours a person like Marcus, who comes from who basically who literally had nothing until Maria does it, and he appreciates a lot more that he has compared to a lot of other people. So I like that. I like and what I was really trying to get to saying with the relationship was the fact that to him it feels more like an obligation, not just for what's good for her, what's good for him, and in general just the fact that again having that different perspective on life, he sympathizes with the things she's going through, and he understands it a bit better than she does herself.
Yeah, I mean, Image is doing so many good things, so I do like to push people to buy the books, and especially Deadly Class. You get 6 issues for $10, so you really should go and do yourself a favor and pick this up. And I know people have their own feelings about Rick Remender. They're not a fan of Uncanny Avengers or what he's doing in Captain America, but I think his Image work with Low, Black Science, and Deadly Class is some of the strongest creator-owned stuff being put out right now, and Deadly Class is in its whole, and it's, you know, pun intended, it is in its own class. And I really think it's a great book, and I think Wes Craig does an amazing job on art. He has a style where it's retro, but it's not dated. It looks like it belongs in 2014, but it looks like it fits. It does fit the late 1980s. So it's a beautiful book all the way around, and there's so much great character stuff. And you know, and I think something that a lot of people don't give enough credit to with this book is that it's a very wordy book. Like, it's not, you know, there's not just some text bubbles. This is like whole columns of text on pages, and it never feels like you're struggling to get through it. It all is necessary to where the story is going. So I credit Rick Remender with that, because that's not easy to put all that monologue in and have it work.
Yep. That pretty much sums it up right there.
Yeah. Okay, so we are to wrap everything up. You know, our picks of the week were definitely Edge of Spider-Verse, Uncanny 26, and Deadly Class 7. And you know, if you have any questions, comments, things you want us to talk about on the podcast, just comment on the video, or you know, leave us a nice iTunes review, and you can also download this at Podbean. So, you know, check out the reviews that are up at geekedoutnation.com. We've got a bunch up with, you know, despite it being late in the week, we've still got a ton more to come. So you have stuff to read over the weekend. So you can follow me at Camacho Jess on Twitter. And right now on the site, I have one review up for The Life After Number 3, which I think is a really underrated book that more people should check out. And tonight I will have a review up for The Multiversity, the second part of The Multiversity, which was a very good issue, which I think I may have liked more than the first one. So yeah, and I'll also have a review up by tomorrow about for Leaving Megapolis by Gail Simone. That is a great single story original graphic novel that I wish I had backed on Kickstarter, but I somehow missed that. I didn't even know there was a Kickstarter campaign for it. So, you know, I'm glad I got it now, though. So you should pick that up as well. What about you, Jadobi?
Let's see. You can check out the reviews I already have up, which are for Soul number 3, Buffy season 10 number 7, Dark Horse Presents number 2, Injustice Gods Among Us Year 2 number 24, and Uncanny X-Men number 26, Unity number 11, and Wonder Woman Futures End number 1. And you can always find me at New Gen X-Men on Twitter.
All right, well, thank you for listening. Again, make sure you follow us on Twitter at Geeked Out Nation. We post everything there. We've got lots of stuff coming up this coming week with TV, especially now that it's fall. Gotham is coming on Monday. Prepare yourself for that. I will be reviewing it, so I will either go into a rage or be, you know, comfortably happy with what we got. And you know, as always, like us on Facebook, go on the website, check out everything we've done, download this, share it with your friends, let us know what you think of what we're doing here, and we will see you next week. Bye.